Hello, my name is Pereva. I am a team lead at WellTech, and WellTech was recently acquired by a healthcare technology company based in China. So I've put together a short presentation to highlight the importance of cultural differences when it comes to business communications. Culture affects pretty much all aspects of business communication. Different cultures typically set different guidelines when it comes to communicating, and that often presents new ways of dealing with certain situations based on the different cultural norms. For example, in a lot of companies in the US, it is a common practice for upper management to have an open door policy. In some other countries, that may be found inappropriate or even disrespectful. So it is important to recognize these differences when entering a new culture to have a successful business communication and be perceived positively. Furthermore, different cultures may prefer different means of communication. While one culture may use phone calls as a common practice, another culture may prefer verbal or written communication. So I will be highlighting some of these differences during my presentation so we can have a better understanding of the Chinese culture, Chinese norms when it comes to business. Starting with written communication, it is important to recognize that the Chinese always prefer verbal communication. However, if written communication is required, there are emails and there are letters and memos. Emails are used in more informal communication, such as thank you notes, routine emails, and such. Letters and memos are used for the more formal business communication, such as business documents, proprietary information, or any information of high importance. And remember that Chinese people use formal greetings and conclusions as a common practice in emails and in letters. So make sure that you include those in your written communication. Now, when it comes to verbal communication, body language is very important to the Chinese people. Make sure that when you are engaging in a business conversation, you are looking your counterpart in the eyes. It indicates respect, that you are listening, and it shows that you are engaged and ready to speak when it's your turn. If you're going to point somewhere, make sure you use an open hand and not a pointer finger, because that is found to be disrespectful. Always engage in small talk before starting a business discussion. It serves as an icebreaker and it builds rapport. And building relationships is very important to the Chinese people. And avoid any strong statements such as you are wrong or I disagree. Rather, explain your reasoning for disagreeing before rejecting any type of a proposal. When it comes to business meetings, those also start with small talk and typically a welcome speech by the host. So make sure that you are on time and prompt so that you do not miss the welcome speech, because that would be found unprofessional. Make sure you dress conservative and no bright colors, because those are found to be distracting. And if you're going to shake somebody's hand, use a light handshake, because strong handshakes indicate that you consider yourself to be superior. Always wait for the host to end a meeting and leave before your Chinese counterparts. Just some common practices in business meetings. Now, when it comes to decision making, negotiation is everything. It typically takes several meetings for Chinese people to find a resolution to a problem, because they respect everybody's opinions and it's important for them to please everyone. So make sure that you are respectful and establish your expectations before the meeting begins. And once again, always explain your reasoning before rejecting an idea so that you can be, they will be more receptive to your explanation and you'll be perceived more positively. I've also included a few tips on how to adapt to the Chinese norms. Of course, it would be beneficial to take some cultural courses and learn some basic Chinese words and phrases. Have an open mind. It makes it so much easier for you to accept somebody else's culture when you are open-minded. And don't be afraid to ask questions. Doing your research is great, but you will always get the most insight by the people from that culture. So don't be afraid to ask questions. And learning some history can also be beneficial and show your respect to that culture. So in conclusion, for WellTech to successfully integrate into China, it is essential to take into consideration the differences between business practices in verbal and written communication, etiquette when it comes to business meetings, the differences in negotiation styles, and of course, learning some about the culture and the norms. So I hope my meeting has been helpful. Thank you so much for listening, or as the Chinese would say, 谢谢你.